Chapter. Today we are doing the Ask Dr. Mom, or Dr. Mom Make and Take. And so I'm going to make a recipe called Lavender Magnesium Body Butter. And we're using raw African shea butter that I put in some boiling water. Actually, it was on simmer, and let it simmer and then till it melted it. So it is in a liquid state. When you buy it, it is in a solid state, sort of like a lot of the different butters and oils. So coconut oil was also, that's the coconut oil. This is the shea butter. So the shea butter is liquefied and the coconut oil is liquefied. Once again, I did that with hot water. And so you can also put them out in the sun in the summertime, and anything over, I think it's about 78 degrees, it will turn it into a liquid state. And so the ingredients are magnesium flakes, which I purchase online, and I get it in an 8-pound bag, and then I put it in glass jars. And we're gonna mix that with water, boiling water, and then that will be set aside, and then we're gonna mix the coconut oil, the beeswax, the shea butter, and then we're gonna combine them. So we're gonna get started here, and I am going to double the recipe. Ordinarily it's a half a cup, and I am going to put a full cup of flakes, magnesium body flakes. I'm sorry, magnesium flakes. And now this is so it calls for 3 tablespoons of water, and I'm going to put in 6. So here's 6, which is also 3 ounces. And then I'm just going to take a fork, and I am going to blend that. And so when you buy magnesium oil in the health food store or online, all you're getting is this right here. So it's so easy to make. It's magnesium flakes and boiling water. And if you were to buy this, a lot of people will buy it in the liquid state, and they call it oil, but it's not technically an oil, but it feels kind of oily. The thing is, if you're sensitive like I am, it'll make your skin really itchy, and it'll feel like there's something crawling on you. And so I personally can't do that. Your skin is your largest organ, so one thing I like to do is I like to get in the bathtub with magnesium, either in this form or in the Epsom salts. I buy the Epsom salts at Costco and Sam's Club, and I get it in either a 12-pound or 16-pound box, depending on which store I get them at. And as you can see, this is all liquefying. It'll take a couple minutes for that to happen, and I'll just keep moving. So as that is dissolving, I'm going to take the rest of the ingredients. And here we have a double boiler. The water is boiling. I'm going to take it off there temporarily. This pan is good and hot, so it shouldn't take long. And because I already pre-melted the oils, it's going to go a lot quicker. So the recipe calls for 1/3 cup of coconut oil. I'm doubling this recipe, so I am going to put in 2/3 cups. I could actually triple it, but I didn't triple the magnesium. So 2/3 cup of coconut oil. And then 2 tablespoons of the beeswax, and I'm going to double it, so it's going to be 4 tablespoons. Now this is a good way to purchase it in the little pellets. You can also get it from an organic grower that has honey. Be very careful when you purchase beeswax, because if it's harvested, if the bees are harvesting their pollen from fields that are not organic fields, you're going to get all those pesticides and things in your beeswax and in your honey. You don't want that. And then the next thing we're going to add is 3 tablespoons of shea butter, which will be 6 tablespoons total. And I look on here, this handy little gadget, and 6 tablespoons, once again, is 3 ounces. And here's the melted shea butter. It's so much easier when you start with the melted form. I've made this many times, and I'm learning as I go that when you have the right ingredients and you have all your ingredients out, ready to use, you don't have to start looking for them like I was looking for a something to blend that. So if you want to come over here, Dee, and look at this in here, we have the pellets that will melt rather quickly. Now if I had started out with the coconut oil in the harder form, not melted, and if I had started out with a shea butter, not melted, it would take a lot longer. But as you can see, those oils are already melted, so I'm just going to stir this a little bit, and it will not take long at all. Turn it just a little. Now, it doesn't have much of a smell to it. Now, shea butter does have an odor. Coconut oil doesn't have much. It does smell a little bit like coconut because this is the raw, unfiltered coconut oil. But before long, that will be dissolved. And then what we do is just as soon as that beeswax is dissolved, I'm going to take that off the heat, and then I will very slowly add the magnesium oil to emulsify that with a stick blender. And in between, the directions say to turn it into put it in the freezer for 15 minutes, and so that will harden up a little bit. And if you don't do that, you're not going to get the right texture. And so as you can see, the beeswax is almost all dissolved.
Now you're cooking this in a double boiler?
Yeah, this is a double boiler. If you don't have a double boiler, what you can do is just take a pan with the water and put the glass jar in there. I do have a double boiler, so this is nice to have. So we're going to cut this off for a minute, and we'll come back in just a few minutes. In order to get this to harden up, as you can see, just putting that in there for a moment, it's already hardening up. So I'm going to put this in here. This is the blend of the beeswax, the shea butter, and the coconut oil. Now I am going to set that into the freezer. It's already cooling down just a little bit, and as you can see, the beeswax will harden up. See how that does that?
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be lovely when it gets done. So I'm going to stick this in the freezer for 15 minutes, and when we come back, we're going to add this magnesium oil, and we'll blend that, and it'll be beautiful. Again, we're back here. The blend of shea butter, beeswax, and coconut oil was in the freezer for about 10 minutes. It said 15 minutes, but my freezer must be extra good and cold. So I'm just taking that out of this jar. I could have done it in this jar, but I don't want to take a chance of having the jar break. I've had some experiences in my life. I tell people I went to school for 4 years for fashion design, 2 years for retail management with an emphasis in fashion merchandising. Then I went on and got my master's degree from the School of Hard Knocks and my PhD from Negative School. So we have here, this recipe was the blend of the shea butter, the coconut oil, and the beeswax. And this is the consistency after it's gotten, I'm going to take this off of here, get the most of it in there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, it says 10 drops, but I'm going to put, oops, this doesn't have a dropper. Here we are again. We've got the shea butter, coconut oil, and beeswax. Now once again, this is the magnesium flakes that I added boiling water to, and this is the magnesium oil. If you purchase this in the grocery store or health food store or online, that's all you're getting is magnesium flakes mixed with boiling water in a spray bottle. You can make it yourself for about 1/10 of the price, so I highly recommend that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, the recipe calls for 10 drops of the lavender. I'm doubling it, so I'm going to put 20. And then I'm going to cap that off. You always want to make sure you cap put the cap back on your essential oils because they will evaporate. So now, I learned this trick of this, my new Cuisinart stick blender. It has 2 buttons. If you only push one, it won't come on. So the top one or the bottom one, but if you push them both, oopsie, it will come on. So what I'm doing here is I'm just gonna mix this, get that going, get the lavender in there, and then I'm gonna slowly add the, so because this is a, has 2 different oils in here that will get hard at room temperature, so like 70 whatever degrees, and because it has the beeswax, this will continue to harden. If you keep it in at room temperature, like a warm room, it'll stay the nice consistency of lotion. It will last at room temperature for 2 months, so I read. If you put it in the refrigerator, it can last much longer. So if you look at the consistency of this, it's really creamy like lotion. And what you'll do is you put it on your legs or your feet, and then you put it in your you put it in your to make your skin nice and smooth. So I'm putting it on my arms, the stuff that was on my fingers. I never want to waste any of this. It's just wonderful stuff. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an empty jar and a spoon that I used to stir stuff earlier, and I'm just going to spoon some of this in here. Sometimes I'll use a funnel for products that I make. This is very thick, so it won't go through a funnel very good or very well. So here we go. Magnesium Body Butter. Magnesium is a mineral. Every cell in your body, every muscle in your body needs it. And this is something that you can apply to your feet, your legs, your arms, wherever you need it. So thank you for letting me share.